You rock, my friends. You Rock podcast is for women like you who want to own your life and live an engaged and joyful life. Hosted by Dr. Aliyah Majid, mom of 3, devoted wife, and a scientist-turned-life coach on a mission to empower women to take control of their lives. In this podcast, we deliver tools, insights, and inspiration on rocking your own life, owning to your highest potential, and becoming the best version of you. Now, here's your host, Dr. Aliyah Majid.
Assalamualaikum and welcome back again to You Rock Podcast, the podcast for high performers to go after the life that they want. And in this episode, I'll be sharing with you guys the 5 myths about productivity. Okay, it's already the final week of Ramadan and I hope you guys are doing okay and being productive in this month of Ramadan and taking this time to slow down and do what's most important and focusing on your well-being, on your spiritual connection, and inshallah this will brings you much joy and happiness and the fulfillment way beyond what could be possibly be done outside of Ramadan. And though it's sad to kind of like having this last week of Ramadan, and sometimes we are busy with work and we might have not having time to do the things that we thought we want to do during this Ramadan, Tadarus Al-Quran, and maybe not ever skipping Tarawih. And one thing I would like to say it out loud to you guys is that don't be too hard on yourself. This is not a competition who performs the most, but it's your own journey. Progress in whatever way that is progressing you towards becoming the best version of yourself. But remember that don't be really hard on yourself. Okay, so back to our topic that we want to discuss for today is about the myths of productivity. So yeah, productivity, work hard and finally you get to achieve the goal that you want or not. So yeah, up to this point you might think that when you work hard, you work harder, and then finally you get to the whatever career, the next level that you want in life. But the fact is that up till this point, maybe that was how the way life is for us. So, at school, we are told to work hard and study hard, and this gives us that competitive advantage. This puts us up in the rank. Maybe all these things that people put labels on, and basically, if you work hard, if you put more time and effort in the things that people ask you to do, you basically will end up, achieving them. But that's how you end up here in a default environment that is, designed to be kind of like benefits a certain people, but might not be particularly good for you. So what I'm saying here is that especially high performing women, it is quite hard when it comes to when you come to a level in your life that you have achieved this kind of success. But in order for you to push further, in order for you to get to the next level, it becomes harder and harder because you now might have other responsibilities in your life too, and maybe your priorities changes, and maybe you feel like you are transitioning from maybe before this you were a career woman, but now maybe you are more family centered, and that's okay too. But what I'm saying here is that even though you might think that working harder and putting more effort, time and energy into all the things that you are committed in, it doesn't really necessarily translate into you being more effective in your overall goals, in your overall well-being, in you achieving your overall success and looking at the bigger picture. So today I'm talking about these in the terms of the mistakes and myths about productivity that we it's totally different than we thought about before this. And number one is being productive mean you're doing the most important thing. Nowadays, it's easy to stay constantly busy, stressed, and distracted. So this is because two powerful forces that compete for every minute of your time, which is the busy like a bee mindset and the infinite possibilities of the distractions that is around us. So the busy like a bee mindset makes you feel like you must fulfill every minute of your time with productivity if you want to meet the demands of the modern day workplace. Okay, so you feel like if you have a gap in your work day, you might feel like you are not productive at all, which is a myth, and this is a myth because you need a gap to breathe between tasks and for you to think and reflect and strategize about your next action. Okay, the infinite possibility of distraction refers to all of the apps and other sources that endlessly replenish addictive content to keep you hooked to your gadgets. Okay, so it's that one after another, and you might not feel bored anymore, and because you have just all of these options of apps for you to kind of endlessly hook yourself in. So think about what are those things in your life and how does this affects your overall well-being. You need to override these defaults of the busy like a bee mindset and the infinite possibilities of choices of technologies so you can take control of your time. Your goal should be, number one, is to choose the people and things to focus on. And number two is to build energy to do it. And number three is to break the cycles that you default to. So being productive doesn't mean you are doing something valuable. This doesn't always translate, to you doing the most important thing. Now it is time to develop a new mindset and with new habits that will help you to stop reacting to the modern world and instead start making time for the people and things that make you feel more accomplished. The second myth is that I always hear from people that morning person are more productive people. Okay, so the truth is that some people will have more success working in the morning, and while others are more efficient working at night when most people are sleeping. Okay, this really translates to my relationship with my husband, and I'm a morning person. I can say that I'm most productive in the morning, and later at night, later in the evening, my brain kind of like shutting down, and I cannot produce good work around that time. Usually I fill up with things that I don't need to really be thinking too much during that time, because I perform better in the morning. But for my husband, he performs better at night, sometimes after the kids are sleeping. So maybe we went to sleep at around 10 p.m. and he can continue working and with a cup of coffee, and he do the things that he do maybe he's writing article, journal paper for his research project and things like that. So I found that he can do that, and the last 11 12 years we've been together, he is most productive that way. He can really focus when people are asleep, he get all these creative juices, all this analytical kind of like his mind just performs during the hours where people are usually really tired during that time. So that's something that I'm impressed about him. And although he looks like in the morning might looks like not doing anything too much, but actually most of the time he manages do these things at night, and that seems kind of work for him too. And if you want to know more about this, meaning that how your biological prime time affects your productivity, listen to episode number 36 where I talk about this in the topic that we discussed about the prioritization to improve performance, where I talk about ways how you can drastically improve your performance by knowing the best time to do a certain type of task. So you have this creative task, you have analytical tasks. So to sum up, creative tasks is better to be performed when you are, less productive, meaning that when you are more tired. For me, it will be around like maybe 3-4 p.m. like that. So analytical tasks, tasks that you need to really think about that is much probably better for me to perform when it is in my biological prime time, which is around 9 o'clock in the morning. And usually it's around that time, 9 to 11, where I put this more effort into those analytical tasks. Usually I don't put meetings around this time because I know I want to protect these hours so that I can do my best thinking during this time. Okay, so back for our episode for today. So the second one would be this myth that people think that morning person are more productive people, which is totally not true. So if you know my husband, you know that he is a high performer too, and he is productive in his own field, and he performs in his own field, and I really respect him and his work. And so the thing here is that your larger goal should be to accomplish your highlight for the day and to look back on the day with a sense of joy, accomplishment, or satisfaction, irrespective of the period of the day you invested in your highlight. So what this mean by the highlight is that every day you have to have these 3 daily highlights, the 3 most important thing. It would be the goal that you are working toward, or it might be the project that you are working on. So making sure that you progress in these 3 highlights of the day that you want to really get done on that day. And if you are not clear about how and what highlights mean, okay, maybe use this time and download the productivity planner that I have made for you guys, so that you know what would be the highlight of the day for you. Because when you start to do the worksheet that I have provided in the productivity planner, you will see that not all of the tasks that is in front of you means the same to you. Okay, some of it are less meaningful than others. Okay, so it is really important for you to take some time and reflect on that and really prioritize and figure out what are the highlights, what are the productive and purposeful tasks that is in your life that will push you to achieve the goal that you want to achieve. Okay, so hey, if you are new here, please subscribe, or if you think someone might benefit this episode, share this episode to them and spread out the love, spread out the word, so that this podcast can keep on growing. And I'm here to stay for you guys to have tips and everything that you need to know about being a high performer, or if you want to become one, okay, if you are not already. Okay, so the next one will be, the third myth will be, willpower is enough to overcome distraction. Okay, when you have this infinite possibilities of distractions, like, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even, your email, your willpower is not enough to overcome the distractions of these, infinity pools of technology products, because they are ever evolving and exciting. You have this new version and features, and you want to test this and that on, and it feels like excited, because they spend a lot of time and money to inventing them, and you might feel addicted and you don't even realize it. However, you can redesign the way you use tech products to regain control of your time. For example, you could set up your mobile phone in a distraction-free mode, and deleting all the addictive apps and things like that. I have several tricks with the Google Chrome, because sometimes I like to watch YouTube for learning. So maybe I'm learning about something in engineering or mathematics, which is the courses that I'm currently teaching in the university. Just a part-time. I'm also a contract lecturer at Nottingham University for a while now. So when I'm learning on a certain topic, I don't want to be distracted with other suggestions on the screen of the YouTube page. There's this iklan tepi tu kan, So I install this, what we call it, DFTube, distraction free for YouTube. So this is a Google Chrome extension. So if you install this Google Chrome extension, whenever you are, learning in a YouTube video, maybe this Ramadan, sometimes you want to learn something in a ceramah agama or whatever. So you don't want to be distracted with the new suggestion after that, right? Because sometimes we kind of like clicking a new thing. We don't really finish the video that we are actually watching. So installing this will help you to remove the distraction beforehand, right? So that it is easier for you to defeat the distraction. Okay, so it's harder for you to be reactive to the new, more exciting things. It is really possible to focus on what matters to you without the fear of losing, friends and acquaintances. Okay, sorry, my pronunciation. I'm not really good in my pronunciation, but you know what I mean, right? So once you change your priorities, your friends will notice and make adjustments accordingly. So sometimes people are FOMO, fear of missing. What is it? Fear of missing out, right? FOMO. Yeah. So that kind of thing. Don't really be afraid of that, because think of the bigger picture. Think of the reason why you are doing this. Sometimes it might feel like you are not progressing in whatever you are doing, but actually, when you look it in a bigger picture, instead of looking at how hard it is for the day, you might see that how far you have come, and stopping here, meaning that stopping because you are distracted with these new exciting things, is going to break the momentum that you have been progressing this far. So one of the tips that I love is about how you can manage time for things that maybe for your email. Okay, sometimes we think that email is our priority, and looking at it the first day in the morning and every hours is what makes you more productive. However, if you keep on working at this place, you will not be getting to the most important thing that will progress you on the main goal, the one most important goal in your life. So schedule time for emails, and preferably at the end of the day. So for me, I would schedule 2 times actually, because I would like to know somewhat in the morning for things that may be required of me during that day. So I kind of check it at around 11 a.m. So usually this is when I have finished my first highlight of the day. my first most important thing. Usually around 11 a.m. I finish doing that. So I just quickly check on the email and see who do I have to respond to, and things that is I needing to be put into my to-do list, or things that might be be urgent of my attention, or things that I have to really quickly reply within two minutes. I just do that immediately. So the next time will be around 3 p.m., which is around the time that I have finished all the things that, the 3 most important things of the day is usually finished around that time, maybe 3 to 4 p.m. So this is the time where I look at my email once again. So instead of using email as, instruction on how you perform the day, think about how can you use email the best way possible, right? So be really slow to respond to your emails, because you have to prioritize your activities and resist the temptation to stop what you are doing to respond to emails. Okay, so this is myth number 3. Your willpower is enough to overcome distractions, which is totally not true. And myth number 4, you snooze, you lose. Okay, what this means is that, the terms you snooze, you lose means that if you do not pay attention and do something quickly, someone else will do it instead of you. So it's like you kind of lose the possibility, you lose the opportunity, not possibility. So opportunity, right? So when you continuously operating in this way, you might become too overwhelmed and exhausted. And most times you easily get distracted by, social media, apps, technology, and things like that. When you allow yourself to become too exhausted, this is likely to result in frustration, and not just because you are tired, but also because you are annoyed at yourself for wasting time. So you need to regain the energy which is much needed to maintain a high performing brain. You need to be intentional about taking care of your body by eating right, exercising regularly, resting well, and getting off the grid. This is really important because you need to have the time for yourself to recharge. Okay, so one of the way that I like to do is take a stroll in the nature. I love doing this, especially when we were living in Japan. It's really easy for me to go to the park and kind of do a little hike on the small hill that we have around the neighborhood, and this takes about maybe 30 minutes, and I really love that. And sadly, it's not that easy for me to do that now, to take a break and go a stroll in the nature, because it's not a walking distance kind of thing where I'm living right now. So one of the things that I kind of like to do is just to take a walk around the block without looking at my gadgets, put it behind, and maybe looking far away instead of, maybe because of eyes kind of tired when we look at things that is on the screen, on our whatever things that we are doing, which is a bit of a short distance kind of, seeing. So I take a walk and look far further away, instead of focusing my attention to the things that is around the corner. I try to look a bit more further away while I'm walking, and this kind of helps me to kind of like feeling like I'm kind of a bit out of the grid kind of things, and this is where I can take a break from my gadgets and kind of like enjoy some quiet moments and taking a mental break from work without gadgets. So this is really, really important. And the 5th and the last myth that I want to share with you guys today is distraction-free environment makes you more productive. So this is really counterintuitive from what we have been sharing before this, but this is something that I really want to get it out here, because it's not only distraction from the external world that we are distracted with, Distractions comes from different direction too, which is comes from your internal self-talk and monologue and things like that, and the way that you are thinking. Distractions blocking us from making progress toward the life that we envision. We know that if we want to be more productive, we need to stop wasting time and actually do the work. Basically, we already know what to do. What we don't know is how to stop getting distracted, right? So most of us think that the presence of technology alone causes all these distractions. And with this, there's this mindset that in order for us to be more productive, we must be totally offline. Some people think like you cannot be online at all because being online is not productive, and you want to live like a really traditional way of working, but that is not working anymore. Things are changing, and just removing your devices, making your environment a distraction-free environment, you might think that it is the most productive way to do, but however, removing technology will only cause us to replace it with another distraction. I think you know what I mean, right? When you thought that you are off the grid, you want to take a walk alone and things like that, but something happened and you start being distracted by other things like that, because you just don't want to be alone and with the thoughts that you have in your mind. What we need to learn is how to be really present, how to be okay with the thoughts that are in my mind, and thinking about recognizing and assess whether the activities we engage in lead us closer to our desired outcomes. And we need to understand what triggers our distractions. Okay, so if you are new here, you are welcome to subscribe to my newsletter. It's available in the link below in the show notes, so that you get the inside scoop every week delivered directly to your inbox, where I share you tips, motivation, productivity, and things like that for high performers. And if you are ready to conquer this world and to become the best version of you, make sure you subscribe to this newsletter and get behind the scene of everything that is happening around here. So that's all for today's episode, and remember to always start your day with an intention, love what you do, and end your day with gratitude. So I see you next week. Assalamualaikum. Are you struggling to find time for yourself or for things that matters to you? Or if you even ever find some time, you found that you can't simply slow down and stop thinking about work. If you are one of those women, you'll benefit from the Success Accelerator program, my 12 weeks one-on-one success and productivity coaching program that helps you to do less and get more work done so that you can spend more time doing things you love. Book a free call with me at draliamajid.com/coaching, or you can do a self-assessment using my free life audit workbook at draliamajid.com/life audit, or you can even join my Facebook group from the link below. Again, thanks so much for tuning in. Bye bye. Assalamualaikum.